Everybody lives in what is called Proto-Maya, the fog that exists above the Dham. Mm-hmm. That's where everybody's located, and that's where all those problems are going on. If there wasn't another dimension to the Dham, I personally wouldn't even want to go there anymore. It's an environmental nightmare. It's an overpopulated city. It has no infrastructure. It's just a plague ready to explode out of the sewers with monkeys, rats, and you name it, overflowing septic tanks everywhere you look. When it rains, it was just an ocean of sewage running through the streets of Vrindavan. Now, I don't think that that's how Vrindavan is supposed to be, because when it started, this is what it looked like. There were buildings and trees, and people were conscious about the trees, and then they needed more buildings, and the trees got cut down. All of them. You go Google Earth that place, boy, you know, if I give you $100 per tree inside the parkrama, you know, I don't have to be a rich man to do that. There are not many trees in there. From my window, I can see a piece of one tree when I look out past Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. And it used to be a forest out there. It would just look like this, treetops, trees. They didn't live in big houses. They lived in little mud huts, grass roofs, and they built nice temples for the deities and the little dirt trails in between here and there. And that's the way Vrindavan was in the time of the 6 Goswamis and for centuries afterwards. But it just failed to have a master plan. And cement, like, what was he doing? Well, Vamana was washing my shoes this morning, cleaning my shoes from traveling, my canvas shoes. And he was washing them in a separate bucket out here. And I said, yeah, scrub them hard, Vamana. That's from the streets of Vrindavan. He goes, oh, touch it to my head. I said, no. I said, that's from the streets of Vrindavan. Spit, monkey stool, urine, and cement dust. Mucho. You know, you got to dig down about this far before you get to Vrindavan. And every time we do, we harvest. And the earth is completely pure. It's a very silty, has a lot of mica in it, shining particles, you know. It looks like kind of like Chintamani. It's that Jamuna sand, very clear, a light gray with sparkling silver. But up on top, like people are on the Parakrama trail, and I tell you, you're walking on top of 20 feet of garbage. When you approach towards Kesigat, before you turn into Radha Damodar on the Parakrama, you're on a road they call the Parakrama Highway now. You could get run over on that place. Guys go 40 kilometers an hour on there, flying. It's just without any law. So that stems from something. Ultimately, that stems from the highest plane in the spiritual world, which is a lawless land. There are no laws to govern the service of Krishna there. It's only the heart flow of love. So somehow or another, here go the peacocks. Somehow or another, that translates down here into something less desirable. People try to imitate the higher bhakti. They ignore the people. Like at Radha Damodar Temple, 1,000 people a morning go round and round. Nobody thinks to pick up a broom. Nobody thinks to maybe clean the glass. Everybody just walks round and round. Now, how much benefit are they actually getting from that walking round and round and doing nothing? Not very much. Not very much. And then when it comes to hearing, oh my goodness. Hearing, who has taken up most of the perches in Vrindavan, are different brands of Sahajism and Mayavadi and deviant sampradayas. It's hard to find a paka. In the Gaudiya Mutt, you can still find proper Harikatha in the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But outside that, good luck. And people going to, there's so many Babas now. So many Babas. They're popular ones in Vrindavan now. Some of them are half Mayavadi and the other half Sahajya. The best ones are Hinduvad. None of them are Parampara. Or they claim some false, Parampara. They make some claim, some big high claim. So, front line of misconception in that fog then due to deviation, people develop many of the wrong conclusions. But where it all comes from, it's a lawless land, Vrindavan, which we're aimed for. Service, surrender, and love, which is not ruled by you have to. Like the other day I said, if you want to eat breakfast, you have to be up and come to the program. Otherwise, no breakfast. That is what to do, you know. Every once in a while you have to put the slab underneath it. Don't go this way, not this way. Otherwise we don't have an ashram. We just have a comfortable living situation. In the middle of Maya's kingdom, that's not going to last. We have to fight to keep back the Maya, otherwise this is Maya's country. This is not Krishna's country, Krishna's country. This is Maya's country, Maya's domain. So you have to push it back. Like we said, to start here, we pushed it back with sticks. We bloodied a couple faces around here, actually. In the days of the Gosai Ghat Wars. When we had to push out the drunkards whose habit was to come here every weekend and drink, 22 years ago, we mounted an assault. And we whooped 24 of these drunkards over here. We beat, literally, physically, beat back the Maya. Then there was the fishermen who were encroaching, and they tried to throw sticks of dynamite at me, and I picked them up and threw them in the river. And then I punched out the king of the fishermen right at the gate and told him, go say goodbye to your women and children and come back here to fight and die. He was like, what kind of sadhu is this? We're from North India, buddy. Sadhus are mean in North India. Yeah, they fight for their turn. So that we don't have to, okay, go out and fight Maya like that, but the fact is, even here, we have to physically push back the Maya. And it's still going on with these half-cocked, ignorant farmers who want to steal the property of the ashram or do this or do that. This is Maya's kingdom, and there is a fight. That's what an ashram means. Prabhupada used to say, ashrams are forts from which we fight Maya. By preaching the truth, not by physical violence. Mahaprabhu did not employ physical violence. However, sometimes physical violence befalls those who obstruct the path and the will of the Supreme Lord. It does happen. It can happen to individuals, groups of individuals, or even countries. And that is probably the curse of India. India's troubles come from avoiding the will of the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada emphasized this. And Mahaprabhu said, wherever you're born in this land, it doesn't matter. Whatever caste you're from in this land, it doesn't matter. It is a duty of everyone in Varsa to preach the glories of the Supreme Lord. This is their contribution to the world, not this economic development. All this is going to end in plague, destruction of society, degradation, mounting suicide, mounting murders, mounting rape. What the heck is wrong with India? Delhi's a rape capital of the world. It's only 130 kilometers from the Braj. What happened to India? Better yet, what's happening to India? It's going on at every minute. Running what people are after in this country. So many Brahmins in Bombay, Varnashrama, I'm also Brahmin, but I'm not wearing the thread because now I'm in my Maya, drinks, non-veg, all this. They think it's like something children do, like children's nonsense, and then they grow up, from just playing, doing nonsense, and they become serious, However, it doesn't really work like that. Children are excused. There is no reaction to children, whatever stupid thing they do, until they pass, I think it's 14. Karma doesn't kick in. No matter what they do, they're not held responsible. And after that, the karma sets in. Well, for an adult, there is no leniency. Oh, I know what I should be doing, but I'm not doing it, So they've developed this very casual look about Maya, like it's child's play. Oh, it's not child's play. They ought to revisit the pictures of Durga and how many arms she has and the weapon she has and the tiger she rides on. And even as you drive into Vrindavan now, there's this 40-foot statue of Vaishnavi Devi. It just looks like Durga to me, but they say it's Vaishnavi Devi, and she's riding on a tiger. Yes, that wasn't part of the Vrindavan thing. So many things have come into Vrindavan now. Huge statues of Hanuman, huge statues of Ganesh. What is this? And people are starting to say, oh, it's like hardware. There's a billboard every 10 feet as you drive down the last 7 kilometers to Vrindavan. Every 10 feet in the center of the road, there's a mini billboard, and the side of the road is just looks like you're going into Chennai. And apartment buildings are just built everywhere. It's like, where the hell am I, Noida? And I went to meet some devotees and have some talks in a modern building built by some Russian devotees. And as soon as we got there, I was like, welcome to LA. It was just like walking in a bank lobby. There was a beautiful stainless steel elevator. It just went up, everything. And modern doorknobs. You know, the Western ones where you just push the button, and the bathroom doors you can unlock with a wire on the outside in case the kids get trapped inside. All of that modern stuff. All of that there. Everything, the top quality fixtures, modern. It was just like, yuck, where am I? Well, I was in an apartment building out there in Ramanreti, Vrindavan, in the cloud. And I wonder how you can even be in Vrindavan in this atmosphere. You're just surrounded by what looks like Los Angeles, or at best Bangalore, or Delhi or something. Completely just out of the environment. Then Pizza Huts and what is that Pizza Hut? We celebrate people's birthdays and things out here, way out here in the world, with such things offered to the deities. Such things are not encouraged in Vrindavan. Celebrating everybody else's birthday, all the devotees celebrating, having pizzas, this, that, restaurant eating. What is that? That has nothing to do with being in Vrindavan. That is for life outside. Life in Vrindavan means full engagement. Prabhupada said you're allowed 3 days to eye candy, look around, get your shopping done, then get to work. Start scrubbing them, mopping them. Shravanam, kirtanam, scrubbing them, mopping them. Hearing chanting and cleaning the temple, doing service. That's what it means to be in Vrindavan. Most of the people who live there don't have any service. Just walking around in the morning, and only a fraction of them do that. So what's everybody doing there? Making money, building houses, all this kind of stuff. So Srila Prabhupada used to say things like, the Jamuna doesn't come to Vrindavan anymore because of the sinful activities of the people that live there. We'll put that in your katha. You know, because of the sinful activities. The Jamuna just comes and nicks Kasi Ghat. Where it used to come way over there and then comes straight down past Madan Mohan and everything. That's why you have all those ghats and temples. That used to be the river like this. And then the Jamuna shifted her course. And Prabhupada also said something like, Krishna is not in Loi Bazaar. But if you go up and Google, where is Loi Bazaar? Loi Bazaar is smack dab right in the middle of all the main temples down there in Vrindavan where the Rasa Leela took place. It's called the Rastali area. But Krishna's not there. What does that mean? Well, that means they're in the cloud. They're just there doing business, all this stuff, capitalizing. But out here, frontline misconception, no, it's, people have so many different conceptions. It has nothing to do with us. Smartas are there, Jains are there, Brahman. So many people are there and they're doing their thing. Vrindavan is all about Gaudiya Vaishnavism, actually. And there's been so many things drawn in there because of the popularity. I mean, but these days everyone's pushing how big your temple can be, how big, and they're getting up there. And the fact that the latest one, designed for Vrindavan, looks something like the Seattle Space Needle from the 1964 World's Fair, is what it looks like. It looks completely it's more modern looking than the Burj Dubai in Dubai. It just goes glass all the way up. Kind of like an Eiffel Tower shape with a little kind of maybe Vedic-y looking something on the top. It's like, what the heck is that? So, HSBC Bank in Hong Kong? It doesn't look, and made of materials that won't last. They're turning towards cement and glass and RCC. Whereas this one Bubba in Vrindavan, he set about building a temple. They call it Prem Mandir. Nice name, Prem Mandir. And it is colossal. And it's built out of stone. They didn't even use steel and cement. They just stacked the gigantic rocks. They made a temple that's going to last thousands of years. Whereas these modern glass temples that they're making in Bangalore and Vrindavana and everything, they're not even good for 200. They will be an environmental nightmare when that steel rust on the inside and all this kind of stuff happens. Maintaining them over 1,000 years, none of them will exist. They won't exist. You can't last that long. None of it. I don't think anything in the New York skyline is built to last 1,000 years. With intense maintenance, maybe. Otherwise, these cities, the materials they're built of cannot stand in the air, even. If nobody even throws a rock at them, they can't stand, even against UV. It destroys the cement, the sun, everything. But the stone is as old as the earth. So, so I was looking at this gigantic temple and beautifully carved marble, every inch of it, just a mind boggle, right? Built by one of the most immoral and nonsense Sahajiyas India has on offer. That's who built it. And it's over 100 acres. And they're building other things like an Astro Dome, theater for exhibitions and all this stuff. And money is there like, can't even think how much money they have. Buildings there, it's just massive into the sky. And who's running it? Some Hindu Sahajis with a lot of money. Meanwhile, I remember when we used to visit Srila Puri Maharaj on his veranda, which I don't even think was this wide. I think it was about
half the size.
No, it was about from here to there. Not half. About there. So we didn't come to Krishna consciousness to join a big building, so that we could wear silk clothing or any such thing. At least I didn't, and I don't think any of you have come here for this purpose, or most people in the world that came to the Krishna consciousness movement came for enlightenment and self-realization and appreciated some social structure along the way. That's Varnashram system. That's a social structure for the world. But it's not a process for spiritual enlightenment for the devotees. There seems to be a huge focus on cow protection, cows, as if just by maintaining cows you were going to realize the absolute truth. But if that be so, then what's wrong with the Jains and Pinjapol, who have hundreds and thousands of cows that they protect, and they're total Mayavadis, they're Buddhists. There's no odd in that. There's so many people that are atheists and they protect cows. In fact, Prabhupada used to quote the famous atheist in India, Charvak, said, "Get ghee and enjoy." He didn't say get meat and enjoy. Real enjoy. Get ghee and enjoy. So even the atheist knew that the cow's value. And once when they might have been from Brazil, somewhere in South America, devotees were returning to their country, and they'd been in Chaitanya Saraswat Mutt for some time. And so just before leaving, they went to see Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And they said something enthusiastically, "Yes, Gurudev, when we get back to our country, we're going to this and that and the other, and really push cow protection and everything." And Sridhar Maharaj said, "That's not a very important thing. You don't need to go and push that. If you go and push, means preach Krishna consciousness. If people are Krishna conscious, they'll protect all the cows automatically. But just because people protect cows and then enjoy, there's no big benefit in that. That's not the purpose of our movement. But as the Jains, they've turned towards this because it's some kind of religious principle. It's a feel-good principle, help the cows, right? But it's a little bit of a sad state when you've seen that become a main focus of the Hare Krishna movement in places, at least for some people, thinking that if the world just protects cows, everything will be fine. That's not there, or you'd see it written real strong. Sadhana Bhakti, protect the cows. I don't even know if it's mentioned. A lot of Varnashrama, like Prabhupada wanted Varnashram, they confuse. Yes, Prabhupada wanted Varnashram. That's for the world. The world has to have a social system, and that's the system. However, that same system for the devotees is inadequate as a spiritual process for self-realization. Just like our friend Chris Wood, who make the pizza ovens for us, who's now, I think, somewhere in Africa. He has some land somewhere on a beach in Africa.
Tanzania.
Somewhere like that. So he sent me this thing. I couldn't read it because it was blurry, but it was some kind of a poster, but it was about spirituality and surfing. It had a Buddha, and it said probably some interesting things. So then Chris got very enthused about that, so he wrote back and wrote to me and sent that and said something about surfing and the spirituality of surfing and what my response. Well, that might be, for some people there might be something there, but when I explained to him, it says there's nothing spiritual about surfing any more than there is spiritual about organic gardening, mountain climbing, diving out of airplanes, studying earthworms or ants. There's nothing like, and sports people think to say, there's this moment of deep concentration, the footballers got it, the guy who's charging in the rugby, and they're just so focused, nothing else, the screaming crowd, they don't hear nothing, they're just doing what they're doing, and they take that as meditation. Total absorption in a point. Right? Well, that's true with a lot of... I've seen people so absorbed in the television that you walk in, walk right in front of them and sit down, then they go, "Oh, when did you get here?" And they go, "Dude, I just walked literally walk right in front of them." They're not paying attention. Attention is not there, so they don't even see. Another nice subject, paying attention when chanting Hare Krishna. That'd be for another day. That's a very important thing. So there's all these things that have cropped up. And, mostly, it's always been that way. Nobody has really survived Vrindavan, especially like a sannyasi or a preacher that I know of who's gone to Vrindavan to live a long time, has come out of there with their head in the right place. There's just too much other influences. It is not a place to go and live, it's a place to go and serve, and then go back to your living station where you're serving. Remember, we're the Puja or Ragapata Guru Vibhangi group, a little distant and below. We don't try to just have our place in the Dham. We have a place in the Dham because of service. Other people have a place in the Dham because they have money. And that's not always turning out to be the best thing. People get killed there. Not as much as before, I heard. Krishna Balaram told me it's not as bad as the old days. He said now people have education, they have job opportunities. But before, you had this rising population in Vrindavan with no opportunity. And they would turn to crime a lot, and all these things were there. All these things were there. There's probably a lot of aparad performed in Vrindavan every day. And a lot less service, probably. A lot of people there just for the wrong reasons. Says one should come to Vrindavan and following the footsteps of the 6 Goswamis, not Vijay Mallya, following in the footsteps of these. One gentleman's name is something Narayan, a big real estate broker in Vrindavan. So he's now the biggest influence in Vrindavan. He's not even a devotee; he's just a businessman who can't even sign his name. He sits with a suit and tie and all this kind of stuff. But to get to that chair, well, there was a lot of problems, land problems in Vrindavan, usually result in a gun. And that's why in the end we're very happy to be at Radha Damodar. We are totally surrounded by the Brajavasis, totally happy, totally safe. Don't have to worry about nothing. Water, electricity, monkeys, nothing. Just focus on our service. But outside, anything can happen. Anything. And it seems to happen to people who are there and don't really have a right to be there long term. Things happen.